Hello, everyone. Hope everyone is staying safe out there wherever you're logging in from today. Uh, today, we're going to talk outbound sales strategies. And first and foremost, I want to give a huge shout out to the Business Show. Thank you so much for putting together this opportunity, these resources to help business owners during this challenging time. I think this message today will resonate with that situation with a lot of people out there. Maybe we can spark some ideas for how you can help grow your business if your business is facing hardships, or how we can help you think of ways that you could take advantage of opportunities that may come up for various reasons and grow your business during this time. I'm going to jump right in. No need to delay. So my name is Jonathan Sellers. I'm president and CEO of Spark Outbound. We're a B2B lead generation partner. We work with clients all around the world. We have clients in the UK, the US, South Africa, a couple other countries throughout Africa and around the world. And essentially, what we do in a nutshell is help businesses start conversations with their ideal client profile, their prospects, people that they know they can help. We help them start those conversations, and so that's why we call ourselves Spark Outbound. We spark the conversations. Today, we're going to go through rather quickly, some of the things that we're seeing right now that are working, that are successfully starting those conversations for our clients or for ourselves as we are trying to find other business partners to work with. And so, I hope at the end of this you're able to come out with some type of at least a framework that you could use as a starting point to design your own efforts, or possibly improve, refine your own efforts to be more successful when you're doing outbound sales. All right. So the first thing, I just want to kind of set the framework for where people may be, I guess. Uh, I'm typically seeing that most businesses through the situation are in one of four mindsets: the business owners, the management team, and so you can see them clearly on your screen. Mindset one is they're stopping. So there's a lot of businesses around the world who are forced to stop operations right now. But even outside of that, there's a lot of people who maybe their business model serves industries that are forced to stop. They themselves are not, but due to the fact that their customers, their clients are forced to stop, they're essentially in kind of a shutdown mode. Um, a lot of other people are in the wait and see. We've talked to a lot of people who say phrases such as we're hitting the brakes, or we're putting this on pause right now as far as their marketing efforts go, to wait and see what's going to happen, what's going to come out of this. Uh, Alternatively, there's people who are essentially staying the course. They're doing the same things. They're not increasing, they're not decreasing, but they're trying to at least keep the activity moving forward. And then mindset four, group four, is the grow group. And so we are hearing from a significant portion of businesses who look at this as an opportunity that maybe some of their bigger competitors are in groups 1 through 3, and they're going to take advantage of it, and they're going to go out and try to claim more market share. So they're aggressively looking to grow. Um, I would say for our company, we are in mindset four. Several of our clients are in mindset four. Most of our clients are in mindset four, and I think if you kind of assess yourself right now, where have you been, or where are you right now within these four positions? If you're looking to shift, so if you've been in wait and see, for instance, and now you're kind of feeling more positive about how things are going, you're ready to shift into mindset four, grow, then I think this will be the message for you. All right, so I'm going to pull myself in here. So, hi everyone. So when we're talking about outreach, and that's the foundation of how do you grow with outbound sales is you have to be reaching out to people. It's a pretty basic concept, but I think we need to first discuss what are some of the goals you should be keeping in mind. So you should always have a specific goal with every campaign. And a lot of people would obviously say make a sale, but you'll see in this list it's not number one, and it may, in many cases, it may not actually be your goal. So the number one goal for us and for I think anyone should be starting the conversation. The reason why that's the case is because even if you start a conversation with somebody who is not interested or who has no need for your product or service, you're still learning. You're still getting information. So starting the conversation is key. Once the conversation is started, then you kind of start moving through some of these other goals. So you're qualifying the need. Does this specific person, or in a bigger scale, does this audience that you're trying to reach have a need for what you offer? Gathering information. Sometimes you might be essentially doing research and trying to figure out, am I targeting the correct market? So gather as much information as you can once you're in a conversation. Obviously, we hope that we're going to bring on clients and make sales. Other things, though, is you can use outreach to gain authority or networking, or we'll talk about some other things later, but there's other ways to use outreach outside of strictly sales, but you can still use the same process. Once you develop the process, you can replicate it for other purposes. All right. So many people, some of this, it depends on your industry. Some people will have had this similar mindset always, and some industries will not. So some industries look to sell very quickly. They have a shorter sales cycle, or essentially they're trying to qualify somebody immediately, and if they can't qualify you immediately, they're moving on. Right now, when you enter a challenging time, there are a lot of businesses. Think back to the mindsets that businesses are in. There's a lot of businesses in mindset too, wait and see. So there's a lot of people you can really help who really need your service or products, but right now their company has made a decision to wait and see. In 2 months or 1 month, they could be 100% ready to go. So I would say the biggest shift is that you have to, if you have if you have what I would just discuss, so you have a mindset of turn and burn. We're just going to quickly reach out, close the deal. If we don't, we move on. You need to make maybe an adjustment at this time to look at some type, whether it be implementing some type of just a simple follow-up program, but some type of effort where you are going to be putting those people who you may identify as, or you at least think that they are in the wait and see stage, or the maintain stage, because even maintain stage could also in 2 months decide we're going to grow. Um, it's a long-term shift now. You have to start thinking about every conversation you start over time can turn into a client, but it may not be as quickly as you might like. And so there's other things that really help during this time with the messaging that you're using, and that would be focusing on how you can help. Focusing on you're here to assist them. You have the resources, skills, products at your disposal that your company offers. Obviously, you have those to help businesses. Uh, that's really the purpose of every business. Every business provides a solution to some problem. Um, so focus on that. Focus on how you can help. Uh, Position yourself as an ally. One thing that has, for us, we've done this a bit, and also we know of several other companies and clients, and through our clients, some of their clients who have adjusted terms. So if you, for instance, have a retainer business model, is there another way that you can, essentially provide what you do that, maybe you're looking at some type of revenue share model. Maybe you're looking at financing it. Are there other options that you can bring to the table to, number one, help someone, help them, by providing whatever it is that you do, but also you can grow your client base. So, and then also because you're an ally, as you come through this, they know that you did that. They know you took this extra effort to help them through this time, and so hopefully that relationship will grow over the life of your relationship with them as a client. But overall, it's about capturing the opportunity. So it may be any combination of those things to essentially boost your efforts. And so then we have types of outreach here. This is pretty simple. So most common historical method of outreach is via phone, cold calling, dialing for dollars. So that's still relevant. Email outreach, and then social media outreach. And so everything else we talk about for the rest of the presentation generally applies to all three of these. There will be just some tweaks depending on if you're calling somebody. Obviously, you might use a slightly different strategy than if you're sending someone an email, or if you're going on LinkedIn because you have a LinkedIn profile there. Obviously, you may not need to say as much as you would in an email when you don't have because they have that information is available to that person. So these are some key components of outreach messaging that we use no matter what. No matter what the platform is, no matter what the method or the reason for contacting, these are all things. And initially, this is outreach. So this is the first contact. This is part of every message. So personality. So you don't want to just say, "Hey, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff." You don't want to do that. I mean, it doesn't benefit anyone. So you want to be a person. You want to show, that you're actually interested in them. Who am I? So obviously this is a very common sense one. You need to tell people who you are, and the benefit statement and the why. So how can you help them, and what is the problem you're going to solve for them? And the more specific you can be with that, it will benefit you greatly in getting people to respond or continue the conversation. And then you always, typically, there could be a couple cases where you don't, if you have a really long-term plan, but you typically want to have a clear call to action. So whether that be, can we have a meeting? Can we send you some information? Will you join our webinar or our presentation? Can I mail you something? Whatever the case may be, there needs to be something that you are asking to continue the conversation. All right. So digging in, what does personality mean? So here we have some bullet points of what you're trying to accomplish by demonstrating your personality. And everybody has a different personality. Some people are very funny. Some people are very serious. Some people, are very talkative. So if you're reaching out to somebody via a digital platform, email or social media, you want to convey who you are, because if you have a phone conversation or a video call or whatever the next step may be, you want them to kind of know what to expect. If you're not a fun person, if you're not funny all the time, if you're very serious, you don't necessarily need to lead in with jokes, because it's not going to convey. It's going to be a little off after they've like, especially if they're like, I really like this person's personality, I'm going to give them a shot, and then you get on the phone and you're a completely different person. It doesn't mesh well. So I would say, be genuine, but essentially you're trying to make that personal connection. And if you have a personal brand, if you're the owner of a business, you are trying to build your brand. You see some examples there. So if you were sending a message, and this is just, these are just maybe inspiration pieces here. So just close the door and have a few minutes of quiet. Realize I never sent you this email. So what that does is it breaks down from you just coming to them with, hey, I'm doing this, I can help you this way, will you have a meeting with me? It gives people kind of a pause that you took that time to write something like that. Um, or even when you're on the phone, if you're kind of you know opening the conversation with things like that, it gives people a pause and breaks down their wall, breaks down their defense mechanisms a bit, and maybe will allow them to take a pause and then listen to what you have to say after it, because it's not something maybe they're necessarily expecting. And so this could be anything. I mean, commonly right now, working from home, catching up, a lot of people are doing that one. So, but creativity is always going to be critical in outreach. So the more creative you are, but also the more clear you are, the more success you're going to have. So I would say for my ideal benefit statements, clarity and concision, just from what I just said, I would say is most critical, because if people are going to continue reading or continue listening, and they see what you're saying, they need to understand how it applies to them and why you're messaging them. It's very important. You have to be relevant. You need to be presenting your most unique benefit, whatever your business benefit is, the most unique presentation of that possible will benefit you, because otherwise, if you're generic, they're seeing it, right? Everybody has a lot of competition. If you're doing outreach, your competition's probably doing outreach, so you need to stand out. And so we see some examples here. So for us, one of our focuses is, to be brief, I help consulting-focused businesses expand reach by connecting your team with key decision makers. It's focused, because in this instance, using this, we would be reaching out to, a leader of a consulting business. One of our clients here helps businesses save time and money on shipping by leveraging their global spend. So very specific reason why, so that they're going to help you save money, and the reason why they can do so is because they have a global partnership where they get lower rates. So pretty simple, pretty straightforward. So if somebody's looking for that, then here we are, we're in the door. The why, so this is the pain point you solve. Once again, as specific as you can possibly be. The goal of this is really to show that you've done your research and you care and you think you can truly help them as an individual or an individual company. Like the second example here, I've worked with many organizations in the business services industry and understand that identifying key target clients and emerging opportunities is a consistent challenge. So that might be something like we would say. But another specific example would be, so if you work in, you're a business consultant, but the service you provide is helping businesses save on business expenses, and maybe you help renegotiate those. So if you, for instance, said, we recently helped XYZ company, if you can say their name. So we recently helped XYZ company save £1 million a year from their business expenses by renegotiating ABC. Now, if that person is also in a situation where that's the level of their business expenses per year in XYZ, then that's going to potentially get their gears turning, because it's very relevant to them. So the more specific you can be in what that pain point is, you have very high business expense costs that could be reduced, and we can do it. Then you're going to catch their attention. So this is a formula. This is like the framework I was talking about. This is general. You can, once again, creativity is always key, but generally you want to include something like this. So you want to introduce with your personality. Who are you? What do you do? Why can you specifically help them, or why are you specifically messaging them now? And then what would you like them to do next? It's pretty standard, just incorporating those bits into each of your messages. If you're doing it on a call, you could essentially develop a script from this framework. Um, you know, if you don't like to read a script, just run through this. What I just essentially said. This could be as little as 3 or 4 sentences. The call to action on a phone call could just be can we talk right now? So it doesn't have to be always this big elaborate call to action, but once you've said what you have to say, what is the next, why are we still talking, why are we speaking? So key adjustments for challenging times. So that's the traditional framework. That's the framework we always use. So now that we're in this weird situation, there's so many challenges going on for so many businesses and individuals around the world in every country. What are we doing different? So the number one thing is empathy, adding empathy to the equation. So we understand that if we're contacting you, you may not be in a great spot right now. So your business may not be, uh, you know, it may not be great for you. Things it may be very challenging. So we want to acknowledge that. We understand that. Like we're not blind to the fact that this is happening. We are still trying to grow and help businesses, and that goes back to here to help. So we're contacting you to help you, and we understand you may be having a challenging time. And then this is the hardest part, is when you're doing it, you have to not want anything in return. Maybe sometimes if in the past you kept, pushing to close or to get the meeting, maybe you adjust that right now, and maybe you take that longer term view, or maybe you just understand that this person you're encountering right now may not be in a good situation and may not really deserve for you to push so hard. So just adjust that, and that's not 100%, but you have to consider the times. So the new formula incorporates empathy, personality, empathy, benefit statement, why, and the call to action. So everything's the same except empathy. So we have a few examples here, and they're ranging in scale of how explicit you're being with the messaging. So the first example is, I understand the situation is uncertain and challenging for many businesses. I would say that's middle of the road. We have a client who specifically wanted the second example. I realized that things have changed a bit. I wanted to reach out to you in the face of this global health crisis and let you know that my company continues to be fully operational. We've had several clients who want that we are fully operational, to say essentially we are still here to help you. But to say the global health crisis, it's debatable how you want to frame the language. I think challenging times, I think crazy times, things like that. Everybody knows what you're talking about. I think I just saw something about a guy was out on a ship for 3 months and landed and found out about this. Pretty much everybody except that guy knows what's going on. So I don't think you have to be so explicit, and then saying things like "stay safe out there" or "wishing you safety," things like that. And then there's debates around, how you do this, because you don't necessarily know this person, they don't know you. But I think there's always some benefit to just spreading positivity in the world. So I think we could always use a bit more of that. So, but once again, creativity. How can you show that you understand, but you are also still trying to help businesses? I think that's going to be key. So then when we look at what is the whole thing look like? So now that we kind of look through, those are step by step. That's the framework. Once we put the framework together, we have our messaging. We know we're ready to contact people. What is our strategy? So how are we doing it? So the way we do it is we're sending always multiple messages to every prospect, and potentially across multiple channels. Most responses do not come on the first message. So most responses come in messages 2 through 6 for us. We don't send the same message ever. So uh, not only do we not send it over and over, but we never send the same message. So a message 2 through 10, or 2 through 6, however long this, however many messages we're sending to a group of people, each one will serve a different purpose. And so that's where the varying approaches come in. The first one is the introduction. We want to help you. The second one is maybe just a simple follow-up. The third one could be, could you refer us to someone else if you're not the correct person? So on and so forth. And then there's, once again, creativity comes into play. How many other ways can you continue to follow up if you know you can help this person? So that's the key. You know that this person is someone you can help. You know they're busy. You want to respectfully continue to try to reach them until you are allowed the opportunity to help them, or at least explain how you can help them. And then most critically, point 5 here is test, test, test. We have run many tests. We have tested different ways of, different platforms. We've tested things as simple as formatting messages differently, subject lines, opening statements of phone calls. Anything that you can imagine, we've tested, and it's critical, and it evolves. So once you find something that works great, it will work great for a while, but eventually that will not continue at that same rate of success. So it's always important to continually keep the gears spinning for how to best achieve your goals. And so we've mentioned the multiple platforms, several times throughout this. And so this would be an example of I would say a fairly aggressive follow-up sequence, but this would be an example of incorporating email, LinkedIn, and phone calls. And so, the days that these things fall on could be adjusted. This could turn actually into a 2-month. It's roughly a 1-month campaign here. You could stretch this into a 2-month campaign. Generally the objective is to start the conversation. And so to get someone to say they're not interested or they're not a fit, or explain to you that for ABC reasons, they are not interested right now, like that information is helpful. So the real objective is not to get a sale, it's to start the conversation. So with this many touches, you are likely to get some type of conversation. So you will in a lot of cases get a not interested of some format, however they portray that. But the key is you're going to get the information. And so you're going to be able to use that information to move forward. And then also if the person is interested in a fit, as you suspect, that then they will, you'll eventually from one of these methods, get them into the conversation. And that it's important because everybody has different preferences. Some people prefer email. Some people are on LinkedIn all day and they love social media. And some people want to talk on the phone. They don't want to type or write anything. So this accounts for that, and it also gives you. They're going to know who you are, at this point. And so because you are very confident that you can help this person, a campaign like this will get their attention. So then at the very beginning, we talked about, some other things you can do with outreach. So once you build this system, you have the process in place. There's other benefits for your company that can be achieved by using that exact same system. So number one, publicity. So if you want to get covered in business or trade publications and you have something exciting happening, you can use the same process to reach out to contacts at those publications. They're looking for content, and so if you have something interesting, they would be likely to share it. for your own company, you can use this to develop content. So if you want to have a podcast or webinar or do like a YouTube live or a LinkedIn live, this is your campaign that you're going to be running, and you think it would be beneficial to have industry related contacts on, as guests. There you go. Same thing. Put together a campaign and start reaching out to those people, and you'll be very surprised how quickly you will fill up your calendar if you present it in a compelling way. Also, you can use the same process to take it the next step, and then so as we, hopefully we'll be seeing everyone in November at the business show. We're hoping to be in London, but you can use outreach to essentially line up speaking opportunities, or become a contributor for major publications. Same kind of process. And then another one, which is a little bit different. It's the same process, but it's a little more. It requires more than just getting the people, but is SEO. So you could use it to get backlinks back to your website, which would theoretically give you more authority for your website, maybe better rankings. But that would be like a whole nother presentation. So we'll just leave it at that. So I hope this information will be beneficial for someone out there. I hope someone, if you've been trying to figure out, maybe the framework for the messaging, how do I put this together so I can efficiently start conversations? I hope, at the least you can benefit from something like that. And otherwise, maybe it's I didn't realize I needed to follow up as much. You always have to be respectful, but the key is, and this is with all marketing, advertising, everything else, it's about touches. Depending on the resource, it could be 7 to 12. I've even seen some things where it's 20 plus touches for you to get in front of somebody before they're going to respond or take into account whatever it is that you're putting out there. So I hope it's helpful, and I look forward to seeing everyone in London in November. And if not, if there's something changes from there, whenever the business show happens, I hope to see you there. Stop by our booth, and we'll be happy to speak with you. Otherwise, I'm so happy you all stopped by today. Have a good one.